Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Popcorn Problems. My name is Elon Pressman, and I'm here with my very good friend and fellow co host.
Nicholas Pasco. Every week, we'll make sure you're caught up with the biggest news and movies in Hollywood.
This week, we're going to be reviewing How to Make a Killing, one of last weekend's biggest new releases. But before we get to that, what's poppin'? We'll run through the biggest movie stories of the week. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing well. If you're listening in New York, you must be snowed in, as our friend Nicholas is. How's the snow,
I'm
buddy?
currently, I'm currently, call me Greg Heffley because I'm currently cabin. What is it called? I have cabin fever. I've been locked under 12 inches of, 12 inches of snow. Honestly, an average amount of size of snow, I would say.
Yeah,
Uh,
small amount, if anything.
yeah, small, redeemable amount. It really isn't about the size of the snow anyway, but
Yeah,
but yeah. It's just been a minute. It's cool. It's cold, but I'm under my covers and we just been chilling out here. How have you been, Elon?
nice. Yeah, I'm chilling. Um,
In
Honestly,
that
this is this
nice
weekend.
Orlando's
Yeah.
weather.
Big convention for me this weekend, so I'm, pretty excited. I'm starting my job tomorrow, so that's exciting.
Nice.
So it's kind of an exciting week.
What's
Um,
the convention? Where are you gonna go?
it's
Or
the
what are you gonna
Tampa
do?
one.
Both.
It's the
Mm-hmm.
Tampa one with all the Scream actors and all a bunch of really cool people and a bunch of cool panels, and I'm looking forward to it. It
Oh
should be
yeah.
pretty fire.
Hell yeah. Sounds like fun.
Yeah. All right, so let's get right into the box office. So overall, this weekend pulled in $79 million, which is down 4.7% of this weekend last year, and down 34% from last week's box office. At number one this week was Goat. In its second weekend, it had a 38% drop, which pulled in 17 million domestic, which means that globally it's at a total of 102.3 million. In number two is Wuthering Heights, also in its second weekend, pulled in 14.2 domestic, which is a 57% drop from last week, which means that globally it's at 151.7. I read somewhere online that it has a break even point, like counting marketing and the production budget of
Mm-hmm.
200. So everything past 200 is going to be pure profit. So it's currently at a 151.7. So I wonder if it's going to reach the 200 mark. I think it might. We'll see how well it plays through March.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, but I could see it reaching 200 or over, but we'll just have to see what that
Yeah,
next drop down weekend will look like.
exactly. And number three is I Can Only Imagine 2, which pulled in 8 million domestic on an $18 million budget. Um, it I've honestly never heard of the first one or this movie, and this one pulled in half of what the first one debuted. The first one debuted with 17.1 million.
I don't think this movie exists.
Yeah,
I went to the I went to the theater. I didn't see any posters for it. Um,
yeah.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and I've never even heard of the first one. So I'm in the camp of I don't think this movie exists. I think yeah, just those are not real numbers. That's a money laundering scheme.
No, but yeah,
Most
but
likely.
it made more money than the movie we're reviewing this week, which opened at sixth place with 3.56 million domestically.
That's
Um,
depressing. That's so crazy because I mean, a New York audience, but my theater was full. My theater was full when I went to watch it. How was yours?
yeah, it was relatively full. It wasn't like completely full, but it was relatively,
It's a good
for
amount
the
of
most
people.
part. I would say it was pretty nicely packed. So I don't know. It's a shame that
Wild.
I guess it just wasn't marketed well. I don't know.
I could see that being the case. They just kind of have put Glenn Powell in front of everything, and unfortunately, we'll get more into this as we talk about the film. I do think Glenn Powell is a leading man, but I don't think he's a star yet. That people will just look at his face and be like, um, oh, let me go watch that new Glenn Powell movie. Like I don't
Right,
think he's not on that level,
right,
especially considering his last film was a flop.
yeah. Um, so yeah, and then a number seventh, Epic. which is the Elvis Presley in concert film, opened 3.25 million domestically. That's pretty much it for the box office. The 2026, like in total, is at 1.05 billion, which is 5% ahead of 2025's pace. I also want to note that Psycho Killer from 20th Century Studios, it debuted at I think 11th place with only 1.6 million domestic, and it actually got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
That's
interesting.
that's crazy. Well, you saw
Uh,
this film, so
I did see this film, so I will be talking about it later.
yeah.
Um, Okay, so last night the BAFTAs, the 79th BAFTAs took place,
Oh boy.
um, hosted by Alex Cumming. One battle after another took home six awards, including Best Film and Best Director. Um, and it pretty much is a guaranteed, I would say, for the Oscar for both Best Picture. I don't know about Best Picture, but definitely Best Director. I think that's guaranteed to go to PTA.
Yeah, for sure.
Robert Aramayo took Best Actor for British Indie I Swear, which is a film that hasn't actually opened here yet. Sean Penn got Best Supporting Actor. Wunmi Musaku got Best Supporting Actress, and Jessie Buckley got Best Lead Actress for Hamnet. She's the only one that like won every single other award show essentially for lead actress. So she's a pretty much lock for best actress at the Oscars.
Yeah, I can see that.
Both supporting actors, both supporting races. At the main three, with the main three like predictors for the Oscars are the Golden
Hmm.
Globes, the Critics' Choice, and the BAFTAs, and there were different winners at each of those for both best supporting actor and best supporting actress, which is actually
Yeah, insane sweep from, or not sweep, but insane pull from the best actor win, by the way. I don't know who he is, but winning over Leo and Timothy is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I just want to mention it's interesting that that's something that hasn't happened since 2004, where with like best supporting actress and best supporting actor, like every single award show had a different winner. So it's really anyone's game. I feel like for those categories, uh, Marty Supreme went 0 for 11, which is the BAFTA record, which is tying for the BAFTA record for the most losses in a single ceremony, which is
Whoa.
interesting. I saw people saying that Timmy campaigned too hard and might have overdone it. And I could see that. I don't know if I agree,
Campaign
but
himself in the foot.
huh? Like,
No, he
like,
he campaigned himself in the foot. No, I can see what you're saying.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like Timmy win. I feel like the way that a lot of people see it, maybe I'm wrong, but he'll win eventually at some point. With
yeah,
some movie. Well, if it's not Marty Supreme, it's going to be something in the future, definitely. So, he might just be like another Leo case where it just takes him like 40 fucking years to get to do it. But it's pretty locked in that he will get it. I would be so on that basis, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't give him the Oscar this year.
mm,
Not does he deserve it? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it could be either or. Honestly, they could give it to Leo. I wouldn't mind.
yeah. Okay, so continuing off with the BAFTAs, there was a slight controversy that's going on right now regarding. So pretty much, I believe his name is John Davidson.
Let's look this up to make sure.
Let me confirm this. Sorry, I should have this. Uh, his name is John Davidson. So
Okay.
Davidson. So okay. So the film I Swear, which won with a guy from Best that won Best Actor. That's what film it was from. I
Mm-hmm.
Swear. He's portraying a real person named John Davidson who has really severe Tourette syndrome and has essentially spent his career um, promoting awareness for Tourette's around the UK and like kind of just bring awareness to the uh, condition. Um, During one of the presentations, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting, and then he uh, ticked out and said racial slur, one racial slur. He just said it twice, and that has kind of sparked a really big controversy. Um, I'm gonna let Nick say what he thinks about this, and then I'm gonna say it as I actually have Tourette syndrome myself, so I think I have a pretty fair perspective on this. But let's just hear what Nick has to say.
Sure. I mean, are you sure you don't want to go first? I feel kind of weird going without. But I mean, I could, but we could cut this out as well. But
Yeah, I I
um,
I just think okay, I'll go first. I
sure.
think that people are taking this as an opportunity uh to hate to like pretty much like uh destroy this guy's reputation.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very, very extreme version of Tourette's, and one of the symptoms, which is in 10% of the people with Tourette's, is the one that makes you like scream out obscenities and just scream out things. And he has like he's part of that 10% that has it, and he's like an extreme, extreme case. I haven't seen the movie yet. I plan to once it gets released in the U.S. Um, and I just think it's such a shame that he was there uh, at the ceremony, for a film that I'm sure he's worked hard to get made to promote awareness, and people are saying that he should have been caged off, or if he's not able to control himself, he should have stayed home. Um, I I don't know. I feel like that's just like getting mad at someone who's in a wheelchair for not being able to walk. It's just something that you're not able to
Mm-hmm.
control. I also I understand the people. I feel for Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. No one should have to deal with that. You know, getting thrown at them. I think what the issue is that it was a pre-recorded show. They should have cut out that moment. No doubt in my mind. Um, the
That's
fact
very
that
interesting. I thought it was live.
it was not, and they kept it, and he was ticking the whole show. Apparently he like was getting knighted by the queen and said like fuck the queen. Like that's just like
Oh boy.
how the condition is. He was going through airport
Yeah.
security and started screaming like I have a bomb. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
from my understanding, I read online that somewhere like in the movie he like the character which is like based on him like almost kills himself because he's like getting bullied and like ostracized by his family and his friends. And that's literally what is going on. I mean, the amount of just disgusting things I've read, of people just misunderstanding Tourette's as a condition online
Mm-hmm.
is terrible. And I think the only one at fault here is the BAFTAs for spreading the clip um, and not just removing it. He released a statement today, and he even said that like about like a little bit into the ceremony, he left because he realized like I mean not obviously he realized, but like he left because he was making too much of a commotion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I just think it's a difficult situation, and I think people are using it as an opportunity to be very disrespectful. I'm curious. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel for honestly everyone involved. I and it's a tough situation because there isn't really like a clear solution. I I feel bad for both John. I mean, I feel bad for uh John Davidson for being in the situation where he now has to explain himself. I guess that's kind of what the movie is about. I haven't seen it. I'm assuming whatever. I also feel bad for both Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Linden because like nobody should have to take that, especially while they're presenting on a global stage like that for something that is, I guess, as I want to say historically important as Sinners is. Yeah, I don't know. It's I just feel bad. I really do honestly feel bad for John Davidson. I don't think I don't. It feels unfair to me that he feels the need to leave the space and not participate with everyone. Obviously, I feel like he should be there as much as everyone should be there. But I also understand why he did it, and or why he left and why things happened. It it really just sucks in terms of the situation itself. And yeah, what and the people shitting on him too, it's not fair. Tourette's is a very real thing that just unfortunately people don't understand, and it can be very frequently misinterpreted. I think something he said in his statement after this whole situation, John Davidson, something he said was like, "I'd be mortified if somebody took something I said like sincerely or real, something like that." He said something along those lines, and
Yeah.
yeah, I can feel for that. I can feel for that sort of sentiment, and it's just a city situation that at the end of the day, I don't understand why BAFTA didn't cut that out. I don't understand why they had to make that a situation.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so ridiculous. I spoke to my roommate about it, and he said it might be for publicity, like just to get people talking, which worked, right?
I was gonna say, yeah,
It's
like I
it
wasn't
just
gonna watch this movie before this whole situation. Now I will, because
yeah.
it's in my
I uh
periphery.
I also want to mention Jamie Foxx. It's a sentiment that he and a lot of people are spreading that he that like you're able to like decide what ticks you have and what you say, and that like
That's kind
it
of rich
just
coming from Jamie Foxx.
yeah, no.
Um,
It gets even better. That it's like it makes you say what you think down deep down. It's kind of like alcohol, how it's like when you drink, like
that's oh
you
my
just
god.
say what like what's deep down. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
like Jamie Foxx was like, yeah, like he meant that shit. Like that's literally not how it works. That's not how it works. And if these people did the slightest bit of research, um, like that's just not how it works at all.
I
And
accidentally confused
you just
Jamie Foxx and Michael J. Fox real quickly, but I also don't agree with what Jamie Foxx said, regardless. But continue. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, like it just you sound ignorant, and it's just frustrating. Because there is so little. Like people genuinely think that the South Park episode is like what it is. Like people that like he thinks that like the guy's like Cartman, just like, oh, I'm gonna say
I
whatever
haven't
the fuck
seen
I
the
want.
South Park episode.
I'm sure you've seen the South Park. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, no. I said I haven't seen the South Park episode.
Okay, it's a great episode. I used to love that when I
Well,
was a kid,
from
just
what
because
you
I
just
felt
told me, I assume it's like Cartman saying like bad stuff and then saying
yeah, he
he's
just
like
like
he has
like
Tourette's.
he like sees like this guy gets like popular in the city for having Tourette's and just like saying whatever, and he's like what, and he just starts faking Tourette's to say whatever, and
Sure.
and that's what that's what people think is actually going on. It's just it's craziness. It's craziness.
Yeah, I feel it's just a horrible situation through and through for everyone, with no winners other than and no real like people at fault either other than BAFTA, which doesn't even feel like a real, I guess, to
Yeah, it's
put
like
a
who's
person
gonna
at
take
fault.
fucking responsibility for that? It's nonsense.
I think this is also kind of like one of those situations other than like maybe BAFTA cutting them out, where it's like kind of nobody's at fault for this situation. This is something that, I mean, it could have been protected, sure, or whatever, or prevented, but that would require not letting him in or whatever. Point being, like, this is a situation that requires like nuance, and as we know, the internet loves nuance. The internet absolutely knows how to deal with every single facet of a situation. So when it comes to this, like, yeah, people are gonna like pick a side, like whatever, of like, oh, this is bullshit, this isn't bullshit, whatever. And it's just really unfortunate that we do think in this way that like, oh, somebody has to be at fault, or when in actuality, like, this is really a complex. It's not complex once you kind of, I guess, understand it, but to people who are unaware of what's going on, it is a complex situation. There are people who are like hearing about Tourette's for the first time, and you know, hearing about the symptoms of it. And I mean, I remember when I first heard about like Tourette's, and specifically this symptom of Tourette's, years and years ago, I was like, oh, that's so wild and crazy. And not like, yeah, it's wild and crazy that that's like a thing that is real. But it is real. And I think people just, I yeah, they don't have the proper understanding of that. They're, it, it's just something that people unfortunately need to get to know. And I guess thankfully the one upside of this whole situation is, yeah, more people will know about Tourette's now. More people will watch his movie. More people will be more informed
Yeah,
in general about the whole situation. Um, but it just sucks that it had to happen this way.
yeah,
And I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just a horrible situation through and through.
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts on the BAFTAs controversy. Um, I wish people would get more educated. Okay, on a
Same.
brighter note, some cool film news that we got this week is that Venom will be getting an animated feature film at Sony. Not only that, the directors of Final Destination Bloodlines are going to be directing, and that's a film that I thought was
That's
directed really
so
beautifully.
freaking dope.
I
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
the
I think
best thing
that
I've heard
film
all
was
day.
yeah, I think
Actually,
the
no.
film was directed so well. That's one of the best things I got out of that movie was the direction. And so I don't know, I'm really excited. I wonder if this is gonna be along the vibes of like a Spider-Verse animation style or if it's gonna kind
Hmm.
of do its own thing. I don't know. Um, but I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I haven't seen Final Audition Bloodlines, but I heard it was good. So that and you like it, so I take your word. I vouch or whatever. I trust you. Um, but what really just gets me excited is just an animated Venom movie to begin with. I think that's an
Oh yeah,
incredible
that's
idea.
awesome. Awesome.
I
Awesome, awesome,
don't
awesome.
I don't particularly care if it has the same style as Spider Verse or not. I just know it's gonna have an interesting animation style. That's one thing that I love about Sony Animation is, despite whatever they make, whether it be a family road trip or a goat playing fucking basketball, it's always gonna look interesting. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I know whatever this is,
As long as it came out after the Emoji
the
Movie,
Emoji
right?
Movie. Yeah, sure. But yeah, whatever it is, it's gonna look spectacular. Oh, if they can keep it
Yeah.
like some sort of like black and white motif. Oh, I'm imagining it now. It's oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. I just
Yeah,
know it's gonna be
it
beautiful. I
definitely has
can't wait.
the possibility to be something really special, really cool. Also from Sony, we found out that they are developing a new Charlie's Angels movie with Crazy Rich Asians writer attached to pen the script. Um, Blumhouse slash Atomic Monster got the people behind The Conjuring and The Crawl series to write the Dead by Daylight film, which I think is really interesting to see how they're going to adapt Dead by
I
Daylight
thought
into a movie. We'll see how that goes.
that's so weird. I thought Dead by Daylight was already a movie, but I think I might have that confused with Until Dawn. Cool. I don't know. I don't have too much hope for these uh PC game turned movie adaptations. Do we know anybody who's working on it?
Yeah, the people behind The Conjuring and The Crawl.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure. Why not? Why not?
yeah. And then the last thing that we got announced this week is that McKenna Grace will be playing a young Daphne in the live action Scooby Doo series. Um, I honestly think that they should be handling the Scooby Doo series as kind of like a PG-13 Scream.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would love that.
yeah, so I love McKenna Grace. I think she's a great pick for Daphne. And she also voiced Daphne in that Scoob film that came out. She voiced like the child version of Daphne in that movie. Um,
Okay.
so it's cool that she's gonna be bringing the character to real life. I also saw it was rumored that Ariana Greenblatt, which is like one of the she was in Barbie.
Yeah, she was the girl in Barbie, the daughter
Yes.
character.
She's rumored for Velma, and she voiced Velma in
Mm-hmm.
that same movie. So I would see that rumor being true.
That would be
So
cool. I'd be down with that.
that's not, yeah, that's
She
just
could look the
not
part.
confirmed. That's not confirmed yet. Just McKenna Grace is confirmed.
Yeah.
Um, Overall, this coming week, on Thursday, the final Oscar voting is going to begin. On Friday
Mm-hmm.
is the final acting awards deadline. Saturday is going to be the Producer Guild Awards, and Sunday is going to be the Actor Awards, which were formerly the SAG Awards, and that's going to be streaming live on Netflix, which I am probably going to watch. I watched the stream last year, and it was a pretty good award show. I'm probably going to watch it again.
Sorry, can you repeat for which awards are you talking about?
Yeah, the Actor Awards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember they had fun last year. There was a few clips that went online.
Yeah, so that's where like the famous like to me clip of like the greats blah blah blah, like it's from that. It was that award show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of all the news I had. I know you had something you wanted to mention, so I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Yeah. So, real quickly, it's not super in development or anything like that, but there is some sort of Spider Gwen project spinoff in the works.
Okay,
Nothing,
cool.
no new details about that as in depth as Venom. But that's one thing. And then also announced earlier today a a new, I guess, reinvention, adaptation, whatever you want to call it. We don't know entirely yet.
Oh
Of
yes, the X
Neon
Files.
Genesis. Oh,
Oh.
that too, but not that. I wasn't talking about that.
Sorry.
I was talking about. No, you're fine. A new reinvention of Neon Genesis Evangelion is in the works. Now,
Ooh.
big day for incel chuds. I'm a big fan
Big day
of
for
Neon Genesis
Nick.
Evangelion. Big day for me. I'm a big fan of Evangelion. Have Oh my god, it's my favorite anime of all time. End of Evangelion, one of the most beautiful films of all time. If you haven't seen it, I would almost recommend it without watching the show, but you can't get that full experience if you haven't seen the show. So just watch the whole thing. It's not too long either. Point being, beautiful show. And any other day, I would this caught me on the wrong day, or this caught me with the wrong info, I'd spit this to the ground, never think of it again, whatever. But the interesting thing about this piece of news is the writer for this new series is Yoko Taro, and for those unfamiliar, they are the person who created the Nier Automata games that are very similar in terms of tone and kind of like apocalyptic nature, and also like technology themes that are all very similar to uh, Evangelion. Plus, also, I haven't played the games myself, but I have like experience with them, like I have knowledge about them or whatever, and they really go in depth and detail. And if there was somebody who would make a new reinvention of Evangelion, I'm okay with it being Yoko Taro, along with previous directors and writers. I'd like to mention also Yoko Taro has worked on one of the new gen Evangelion films that I have not seen. I haven't seen any of the new
Mhm.
ones, but yeah, so he has experience with the franchise, or they have experience with the franchise, along with also the directors and general coordinators of the show are people who have worked with the OG show as well. The only
Cool,
person
cool.
not attached, yeah, exactly. The only person not attached is the original creator, Hideki Anno, which does concern me a little bit because Evangelion is a very personal show. It's a very personal story, uh, specifically about Hideki Anno's experience growing up or whatever. So that's the part that concerns me about this piece of about this new reinvention. But I saw a take online that I could agree with. That was, if Evangelion is treated as a myth that can be reinterpreted with different visions, that would be beautiful. And I agree. I think, I don't know. I'm very skeptical, but so far it's a green light for me. They released a trailer earlier today as well. beautiful composition, some gorgeous art. You know, very vague. We got a shot of the what I'm assuming is the new Ava 1 design. Uh, very cool. I don't know. This could go a million different ways. But I'm just hoping it's good, and maybe at some point I'll watch those new movies. Who knows? But yeah, that's the new news. We could also talk
Cool.
about the X Files as well
Yeah,
being
I also
greenlit.
yeah. There's also just like the greenlit the pilot for the X Files Ryan Coogler reboot, or not
Mm-hmm.
reboot.
They
Is it a reboot? Yeah, it was a reboot.
and it is a reboot, and also they have an actress attached, um,
Oh,
as
do
well
they?
already.
Did not know that.
Yes. Danielle
Oh, Danielle
Danielle
Deadweiler, right?
Deadweiler. Yeah,
Okay.
Deadweiler is starring.
Cool. 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 Cool.
So
Cool.
that'll be interesting to see as well. I'm not a fan of the X Files, but I do want to give that old show a watch, and I'll watch anything Ryan Coogler makes at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that brings us to the end of what's poppin' and into what we watched. As you guys know, me and Nick have been watching Scream film. Every single one leading up to the release of Scream 7 this weekend. And last week not last week, this week, we watched Scream 6, which is the last film of our rewatch. Um, and this is actually the only film that Nick has seen before, so this was actually a rewatch for him, and not a first time watch. Um, Nick, what did you think of Scream 6 on a rewatch?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's probably my third or second favorite of the whole franchise. I struggle to put it at first just because I don't want to put the sixth film in a franchise at first. I would also have to like maybe properly think about them more, but I really liked it a lot. I think it's kind of I'm unsure if the reason I liked it is because it's more modern and what entirely that means by it being more modern, whether it just means that like more characters have or the characters have more depth or the way that it was shot is just like more to my familiar stylings. I'm not going to say that it's because it was more modern, but I will say it's because I they thought about the characters more. Um I think every character here, for the most part, at least the ones that you're supposed to care about, they managed to make you care about them. Um, I love the fact that they gave Jenna Ortega more of a role instead of just being passive and dead for the whole film essentially. Um, I do like what they did with Samantha, and I know you have thoughts on that, so I won't spoil. But I like I like the direction that they went with Samantha's character and how they still included the psychosis of it all. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It seemed appropriate that where the legacy characters wound up, pretty much Gail. She's the only one that showed up, and the FBI agent, I believe. Spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't mind
Okay.
that it was only Gale. I think that's a good way to separate yourself from the rest of the franchise. I I have a little bit of apprehensions towards the seventh one, leaning so much on the franchise. I'm a little skeptical of that. We'll have to see. But yeah, overall, uh, this is one of my favorite Scream films as well. I think the kills were really good, and the setting of New York really made it interesting. And yeah, I don't know, watch it. I think this is one of the best introductions that I could have had, and this was actually also I'll pass over the mic to you, but this is also your introduction to the Scream franchise,
Yeah,
right, Alon?
yeah, and I honestly loved it upon first watch, and I loved it again. I think I've seen it a couple times since. Um, it's just such a great entry into the Scream franchise. It's a great slasher. It is the first time we got three killers. I think the weakest part of the film are the killers. They are definitely the least interesting and most underdeveloped out of any of them.
Sure, I
And
could
also
agree with
probably
that.
the most obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think personally, what the issue is that the movie might have played it a bit too safe. As in none of the main characters really died. You know, the
Mm.
main four. I think
Yeah,
one of
I didn't
the
notice that.
like either Chad or Mindy should have bit the bullet. Um,
Well, that the girlfriend died, the Asian girl.
right, Annika.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, it's a great film. I really have a good time with it. It is a shame. I disagree. I really like Sydney, and I think her absence is felt in this film. It's a shame that they just didn't want to pay her what she was worth, which is why she didn't come back for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, honestly, just seeing all these films, uh, it really showed me that there really isn't a bad one in this franchise. It's such a consistent and fun franchise to watch. These are all these are
Scream
characters,
3.
and I like Scream 3. You know, it's not the best, but it's fun. I like
All right.
the Hollywood aesthetic of it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for Scream 7. I also quickly want to
Mm-hmm.
mention if you're someone that is posting because I guess like the ending, like some scenes from the film, like Loki leaked on Twitter, and people are like posting
Mm-hmm.
that shit around and like posting spoilers. If you do that and think that's a good way of boycotting, you're a fucking scumbag.
Fuck you.
And yeah, your opinion is that like if that's how you think getting your opinion out in the world is gonna do any good, you're honestly brain dead. And
You
that's
got burned, bro.
all I'm gonna say on that topic.
Bro, you should
Um,
this is your Avengers Endgame, bro. You gotta treat it like that. No social media until you gotta watch this on Thursday, so that then like none of
I
the
know,
spoilers get to you.
bro. Somebody fucking was like Spider-Man brand new day trailer leak, and it was like the opening frames were like the Marvel logo, and then it like cut to like a scene of like clearly like it was like great,
That's
not grainy, but
fucked.
it was like a recording of like Sydney and when she's like older, and I clicked off so fast. But it's just like
That's
you're a
so
fucking
fucked
asshole.
up,
That
dude.
that that felt so like personally targeted to me, just because I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
Spider-Man. Like I
yeah. They
actually
really
felt like
honeypotted you, bro. They got you there, bro.
dude, what the fuck? Like, you're a scumbag. Why would you do that? Like, actually, what the hell? That was so. I
then
don't.
when dude, then like a few in the future when Spider-Man is about to come out, they're gonna be like they're gonna be like Scream 8 trailer leak, and then it's gonna cut
Yeah,
to
to
the
like,
ending of Spider-Man Brand
yeah,
New
yeah, yeah,
Day.
yeah, yeah, like full circle. No, but
Oh my
that one in
god, dude.
particularly felt so targeted. I was like, actually,
Yeah,
what the fuck, dude? Like, that
they
was
did that
something
one towards
else.
the poster said this one's for Alon Pressman and Alon Pressman only.
Yeah, yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
So yeah, Scream
One
Six.
thing I wanted to say real
Go
quickly,
ahead.
something you said is you felt that Sydney's presence, you felt the lack of Sydney's presence in this film.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like that was a plus, not necessarily like feeling the lack of Sydney presence, but just Sydney not being there. Uh, and I think this is the difference between you and me, someone who has reverence for like this franchise versus someone who just like enjoys the or watch the films and like enjoy them kind of passively. I feel like I feel like the whenever Sydney was around in the other films, it would kind of distract from the main plot, and it would be the least interested. And it would be like if you had to, I don't know, like scan line it to the points where I was most interested and least interested at the whole film. In the other Scream films, it would be like Sydney being on screen would be like when I was least interested.
Mhm.
Um, just because I feel like the in the older films, or yeah, in the I guess the newer films, um, the franchise is like trying to evolve to be something different, but it's also like trying to stay back and maintain Sydney when she's not necessary for the plot of what's happening, and she's just kind of more of a distraction and more for there for like the fans. I like the fact that she's not in this one because I was like, okay, cool, we can be focused on these people and maybe Gail and the FBI agent, I forgot her name.
Yeah, Kirby.
Um, Kirby, exactly. We can just be focused on Gail and Kirby and their involvement within the actual group. Um,
Yeah. Uh,
because
speaking of Kirby, sorry, I'm cutting you off completely. Finish your thought.
oh no, that was pretty much it. Like, yeah, I mean, because most I guess not anymore, but most horror franchises, they don't kind of stick with the same scream girl, you know what I mean, or not the same scream girl, but the same, what's the word I'm looking for,
Final
scream
girl.
queen, final girl,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. They kind of move past it, and so I feel like that's one thing. Well, that's kind of what I'm scared about in Scream 7 is it'll just depend on all these old characters that we already know, and not kind of like develop the new daughter character of Gail, or no, sorry, of Sydney,
Hmm.
and whoever else they choose to introduce into the franchise at that point. But yeah, sorry, Nick, go
Right.
ahead.
Right. No. Sorry. I honestly don't remember what I was gonna say. It must have not been important.
Sorry, I did.
um.
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. Before we move past Scream, I quickly want to mention Kevin Williamson, which is like the main writer behind Scream, and he's directing this most recent one. He obviously has been doing press because the film is dropping this week, and he kind of gave us an insight into what the original uh, path was going to be for Scream 5 and 6 had they followed through with like the Scream 4 trilogy plan. Jill was actually going to survive the end of Scream 4. She was going to get away. She was going to get away with it. And then in Scream 5 would have been about her like going to college and kind of being like the new Sydney. And then it'll be kind of like a I know what you did last summer type of thing where like somebody knows
Mm-hmm.
that it was her, and then they start killing her off her friends in her new life one by one. And then apparently Dewey was gonna die in that one, so Dewey was still gonna die in 5 regardless.
Dewey was a
And
goner
then
anyway. That's cool. I like
and
that.
and then he said a number 6 was gonna be a Gale centered movie, which I think is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it's cool to see what could have been. Um, but yeah, I wanted to mention that because I know you like Scream 4 a lot. And what would you have thought of that trilogy? I think it would have been a really interesting place to take the franchise, personally.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I was when watching Scream 4, I was interested at the fact that she might have actually gone away with it. I was like, holy shit, if this is the way that the movie ends, I'm so down. Um,
That was the original
yeah, that would
ending,
have
and
been
then
really
they
cool.
they they changed it during production to where she doesn't survive.
Yeah, I mean, I would have really liked that. That would have been a really cool idea to take the franchise into a new interesting direction, and also allows them to like parody a different type of movie. Um, and yeah, who knows what a Gale centered movie would have been about? But I'd be down for that. Hell yeah, she's like by far one of my favorite characters of the whole franchise. I mean, she's one of the
Yeah,
only ones that have like a real character and personality
I'm.
to them.
I think she's biting the bullet, and honestly, in Scream 7, I
I can see
think
that.
Sydney or I don't see Sydney and Gail getting out of this one. I think one of them are dying, and I wouldn't be surprised if they
Mm-hmm.
kill Sydney. I don't know if they would kill Sydney, but I could see Gail being expendable, especially Courtney Cox. I
Yeah.
doubt she wants to do these anymore. She's been doing this for so long. Um, I'm surprised Courtney Cox is honestly still in these, to be
Yeah, for
honest.
real.
So
I mean, it's clearly she cares about them to some extent. Like, it's a passion for her, or else she wouldn't have done Scream 6. I'm assuming maybe they do pay her a little bit. They definitely do pay her a little bit, a lot more than
yeah, I mean she's in all of
Sydney.
them. She's like, now that Sydney wasn't in Scream 6, she's the only actress that was in every single one of them.
I'd argue that Gale is a more iconic character than Sydney even in the franchise.
Interesting. Interesting take. I don't know if I could agree with you, but it's definitely a take.
I mean, I feel like more. I feel like more people. I feel like it's easier to remember Gale than Sydney
Hmm.
because she's actually more involved
I
within
get
the
that.
actual
No, no,
plot of either
listen.
movie, wherein Sydney is more like reactive.
Yeah, I get that. I think they're
Sorry,
both great. They're
yeah,
both really well written characters. I really enjoy both. Um, Nick, do you have anything else that
yeah. I
you
think I
watched
just
this week
hate
that you
Sydney for
wanted to
some reason.
mention?
um, Yeah. I watched a little horror film called Jacob's Ladder. It's a cult classic from 1990. I was watching it for a project, actually, for research slash inspiration. But yeah, I don't know. It surprised me. It's one of those films that I'd always heard about but never watched. It's been on my watch list for forever, and finally I buckled down, and it was great. I don't know. I don't want to give too much of it away because a lot of the, I guess, charm of the film is not really knowing what's going on. Um, but I will say it's a very introspective film. It's a very religious film.
Interesting.
Um, and the whole thing takes place in New York for the most part. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to talk about this film without properly giving spoilers, but if you're into a slower, more like thriller psychological horror, um wherein kind of weird shit happens, um and you just that's and that's kind of just what happens throughout the whole film, then this is your sort of film to watch. If you had given me that explanation, actually, I would have watched it. I was gonna say if you had given me that explanation or that description of a film, I probably wouldn't have watched it, but maybe, I don't know. It really depends on you. If you're into that sort of film, a slower film, a weird film where you're not entirely gonna know what's going on all the time, but you'd still get a good story out of it, I'd say go watch it.
Hmm. Nice. Where did you
Recommend
watch this on?
on the high seas. On the high seas, I watched it. It was not on. I don't know if
Mm.
it's on Netflix or anything like that. I could look that up later. Maybe it's
Gotcha,
on Tubi.
gotcha. Okay. That's funny. Okay, yeah, so like I briefly mentioned earlier, I watched Psycho Killer, which is a new horror
Oh yeah.
film by the director, not by the director, by the writer of Seven, and I was honestly incredibly disappointed. It was only an hour and a half, and yet I found it incredibly boring and hard to sit through. Um, I was into it for maybe the first 30, 40 minutes, but it throws a lot of ideas to the wall that it doesn't really follow through with. Um, the kills that we do see aren't necessarily interesting, and the ones that could be interesting we don't see on camera. Um, there's it's difficult for me to find something positive to say about the film. Um, I honestly wouldn't really recommend it. It was goofy. The killer had a
Were you
goofy
bored?
voice. Yeah, I was bored. I was definitely bored, especially in the last 20 minutes. I
Okay.
just found it ridiculous. Um, it was definitely the type of movie that you would find on like the Roku channel, like those slashers that I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about a couple weeks ago. But it lacks the
Sure.
fun, like the fun and the enjoyment I would get out of those movies. It was just
Yeah.
it was
That's
dull. It was dull. The performances were dull. The characters were dull. It was shot dull. Not a movie I would. I can only say that like a movie like this shows me how much like impact a director has on a project. You could have like
mm.
the worst script and have a good director, and he can do something good with it. And you could have the best script and a bad director, and then have it turn to shit. So
Yeah, that's really disappointing. I was actually kind of excited to watch that movie because of the writer being from like Seven, how big of a deal that is.
yeah,
But thank you
it
for
was pretty
saving me
bad.
that 2 hours. That's tough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about before we move into our main feature?
I did not. Did you?
I don't. Before we move into the main feature, we quickly want to mention that since we're going to be done with our Scream rewatch, we're going to be doing a new segment called Spotlight, where every single week we're going to be spotlighting an older film that both me and Nick are going to watch during the week. And Nick, would you like to announce our first ever Spotlight?
For sure. So, essentially, the way this is going to work is every week, just Alon and I are going to switch recommending a film. This week, we will be watching All That Jazz, directed by Bob Fosse. Yeah, I've seen this film once a few years ago. I really liked it, and I know Alon, you haven't seen it, so I'm just
I have not,
excited
correct.
to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard of
Yes,
it a lot, so it's gonna be a fun watch. So we will talk about the next week. Stay tuned. With that being
absolutely. And
said,
if
we
you
can
guys
move
would like
into
to
our main
follow along,
feature. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, no, I was gonna say, if you guys would like to follow along with us, you absolutely can. Um, yeah, just with just leave your comments. You know, if you have a week to watch it. Once you do, feel free to leave your comments, and we might even feature them in
Hell
the next
yeah,
episode.
yeah. We'd love to hear from you and love to spotlight any interesting takes that you guys have about our spotlights.
Absolutely.
um, yeah. Okay. So, quick spoiler-free summary of How to Make a Killing. Disowned at birth by his wealthy family, Beckett Redfellow will stop at nothing to reclaim his inheritance, no matter how many relatives stand in his way. Nick, I know you really liked this film, so I'm just gonna give you the mic and let's see what you have to say.
Sure. Yeah. Surprise, genuine surprise for me. First 5 star of the year, 10 out of 10 of the year for me. Uh, I think it also just hit me because I can kind of relate to this story on a somewhat personal level. Um, but regardless, How to Make a Killing was a beautifully shot, incredibly well written, nicely paced, interesting story that kept me engaged through and through. I was never bored. It was funny. Glenn Powell is a charismatic lead that made me care about him. Everyone around, all the characters surrounding him were incredibly fun. Um, I really want to emphasize how beautiful this film is, which I did not expect at all. There were some shots in here that are so simple yet constructed so beautifully. I want to mention one um, when it's kind of a spoiler, but when at the very end when Glenn Powell is trapped in a house, and he's looking out of a bathroom mirror or a bathroom window, and it's like all dark, but instead of other than the light outside. Do you know what shot I'm talking about, Alon?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I thought that was gorgeous. I thought it was gorgeous and how simple it is, and I think that's like my thesis with this film is it's fairly simple in its premise. A guy just wants to kill 7 people to get money, but with that premise, it kind of derives so much meat from I guess the philosophical bones of what that means, both in the actions of what's happening in the film and also in its ending, which I really adored. Um, yeah, I don't know. I So much of this film just worked for me on both a objective and personal level that I had no choice but to give it a 10 out of 10. Um it was vision through and through. And that's what I think. What did you think? What did you think about it, along?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I saw somebody describe it as more of an Edgar Wright, Glenn Powell movie than The
Yeah.
Running Man, and I could not agree more.
Oh.
Even though it's not directed by Edgar Wright, I think it's an incredibly fun movie. It's fast paced. It's shot well. It's acted well. You really care for our lead of Glenn Powell, even though he's doing some disgusting things. He's terrible. He's a terrible person. Um,
Mhm.
but you honestly like care for him and you honestly support him because these people that he's doing it to are
You want to see him
terrible.
win.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun meeting all the characters of his like estranged family. Um, all the quirky people, that he's gonna kill to get his inheritance. Which I'll say my favorites, since specifically in spoilers, but I don't know. I really liked like the romance going on.
Oh, that too.
But
Yes.
that was a really like interesting aspect. It's not something I expected. but it worked for me. Um, I don't know. I just thought it was really great. It was a really fun time at the movies. It was well paced, well shot, well acted, and yeah, it's continues to prove that 2026 is going to be a great year for movies in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, yeah, I'm glad that we both enjoyed this one. I kind of already knew going into it that it was going to be a hit just because you had texted me that it was really good, and so I got me really excited. And it still lived up to my raised expectations. So I really did
Yeah,
have
I'm
a good
glad.
time with it. Um, Let me think. Margaret Qualley was very fun. I wasn't 100% sure about her character at first, but I really like where it kind of went.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really like Margaret Qualley as a performer. I think she's really talented. And she's always doing such
For
quirky,
sure.
strange characters that I always know every time she's in something, I know it's gonna be something I'm not expecting, and that's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. No, I absolutely agree. Margaret Qualley, she's always a treat. She always picks interesting characters, so I'll most likely watch almost anything she's in. Uh, I do really like the way that they, there was a way. I feel like there's a lot of easy traps that this film could fall into in terms of like cliche. Because it's actually it's not a super original story. One, matter of fact, we saw a technic kind of a version of it earlier last year or at the end of last year with No Other Choice. Um,
Oh yeah,
uh,
I didn't even pick up on that. That's totally true.
yeah, yeah, I saw somebody point that out, and I was like, oh, that's true, I suppose. And it's actually based on a book. It's based on a super old book called give me one second. Um, I
How to
think
Make a Killing,
give me
Blood, Death, and Dollars in American
no,
Medicine.
that's not the book it's based on.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, you're
Oopsies.
fine. I mean, it does have the exact same title, so I don't blame you for thinking that. Fuck.
King Hearts and Cornets. Coronets.
That's
I believe that's what you're looking for.
okay. So the book it's based on is called Israel Rank: The Autobiography of a Criminal. Yeah, that's what his name. His name. Yeah, that's what the book is called. So
Hmm.
uh I could and during the whole film I was like, oh, I feel like this feels like a book, and it was. So it's not a super original story by any means, but there are a lot of cliches that a story like this and a film like this could fall into that I think this film manages to avoid very interestingly. And I think that's more present especially with Margaret Qualley's character,
Hmm.
but it's also seen in other aspects as well, which we could talk about in spoilers.
Yeah, so yeah, let's actually move into spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and you plan to, now is a good time to click off. I'm just gonna let you continue your thought so I don't ruin your train of thought.
Sure, yeah. So, one, I really love the ending where he lives, and I feel like the whole film is kind of like building up this story of like, especially with the with his wife character. Um, they're really pushing the story of being content with life, not needing money, whatever this and the other. Um, Yet, despite having that being their, I guess, thesis or message, the character still win. The character still wins, and they still get what they want in terms of their wealth. And I just think that's a very, I think the way they went about doing it was so well done. Not necessarily because because it still proves his competence while also him losing on a, I guess, level. I don't
No,
know.
yeah, like it's totally him losing. It's not, what it was completely out of his
Like
hands.
it's not a happy
Um,
ending. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a content ending, I guess.
I wouldn't even say it's content because I feel like the ending with like the gates is supposed to be like jail, so like he's almost like put himself in another jail. Um,
I
I
didn't
would
even
say
read it like
it's
that. That's a really interesting take on it. I like that.
yeah, and he's not happy. He's not with. I think I guess this is like the part that's a little muddy. Is yeah, I guess who he really wanted to end up being with, whether it be Margaret Qualley or the other girl. Um, I kind of yeah, I mean I read it as him not actually wanting to be with her, more just like being like, okay, I guess so.
Yeah, she was just like to
Um,
make him, yeah, like to make him
yeah.
content. Like he, I think the best part of this film is like sometimes showing how like we can get like ahead of ourselves that we don't realize that we should be like content
Mm-hmm.
with what we currently have. Because honestly, this guy was going really well. Like he had a really nice job, which he was moving up, in power in position. He had a great
Mm-hmm.
relationship with, and he still wasn't content. And I think it's a nice message of like, don't be always asking for more. Sometimes you just be grateful for what you have. Um, I think it's a really interesting message. I think it's a nice point.
Yeah, no, same. I think that's what I loved about it as much as like we get to see like the actual effects of yeah, you win. This is what you get when you win. You don't end up happy. And also, you said you had like favorite side characters.
Yeah, the Topher Grace one, just so fun.
Oh,
Uh,
he
I,
was fun
I,
as well.
I, I wish we spent more time with him. He was really funny. I like Topher Grace. He's such a strange actor. But I
Mm-hmm.
always kind of have a fun time whenever he pops up in something. And yeah, I just think I really liked his like kind of pseudo priest character. His absurdist stuff that he was saying and doing. I also liked the original like boyfriend of the girlfriend that he ends up with.
Yeah, Noah.
Yeah,
Zach Woods as Noah Redfellow.
yeah,
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 he was
yeah.
funny too.
He was great. Um, yeah. Do you have a favorite kill of the film?
Ooh, a favorite kill. Yeah, high key, I would say it'd be Noah Roadfellow, the boyfriend character.
Yeah,
I think it
that
was.
one was
I really love the
really
way that they
good.
built it up. Yeah, it was really good. I think the way that they built it up was really funny. And like getting to know him and getting to like properly hate him or just dislike
Yeah,
him. I was like, yeah, this guy needs to go. This guy needs to go.
yeah, yeah,
And I thought
yeah,
the
yeah.
way that he orchestrated his kill was very clever, and then the payoff of just like that little explosion from like 50 from however many miles away. um it
It
was
was
just so
great.
funny.
Was
I
it was fun. I also really liked the one in the sauna or the spa with
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
teeth mold. That was really like smart. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I
Um,
love how simple some of these kills are too, where like they don't feel the need to like divulge, go into every character. They give you a little information, and then
yeah,
they kill them, and then that's it.
yeah.
Nothing too crazy, nothing
I
too distracted.
One of my favorite things about the film is after every kill, how it would cut to the same like shot of like the funeral, like in the same like angle. I just thought that,
Oh yeah,
especially
yeah, 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 yeah. That was funny.
by like the fifth or the sixth time, I was like laughing. I thought that shit was really really funny. It was just the
If
comedic
the
timing
joke
in the
isn't
film
funny the second time.
is really well.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that goes along with the pacing as well. Just the pacing and overall like the rhythm of everything is so smooth. So I did not feel a minute of this film. And
Yeah,
yeah, to I don't know what you're saying. Like yeah, the comedic timing is hilarious. I was properly laughing the whole time. I'm trying to think of a specific scene that I or a specific like moment of comedic timing which I thought was funny. But I mean, overall, I mean, yeah, I mean overall, I can't think of a specific moment, but for some reason right now, what comes to mind, this wasn't particularly funny, but it was more well done, I would say, is also at the very end when he's in jail and he's finishing talking to the priest, and he's like, you might wonder why I sounded so self-assured. It's because I was expecting this person to come through. And then like that little like moment, that little like maybe 30
Of
second
like
to a minute moment,
doubt.
yeah,
Yeah.
of doubt, where we just like sit with him and then the camera like pushes in and he's just like, I wonder if she'll show up. And it's just so because that's what I love. It like this movie is quick when it needs to be, but also it takes its time and slows down
Hmm.
and lets you sit with the feeling when
Yeah.
it's important. I can't get enough of it. Honestly, I don't know. I want to watch this shit again. It was so good. It was so fun.
Yeah. And I cannot understate or overstate, sorry, how effective Glenn Powell is in the lead. He is truly
Oh,
so
for sure.
charismatic. Um,
Mhm.
and he's just great. It really is such a good role for him. I love seeing him in the movie.
He's charismatic and he's also like incredibly vulnerable when he needs to be and like pathetic when he needs to be, and I think that's a great quality of his, that like he can be this like a strong tough lead, but also like be that one
Yeah,
moment in the beginning where like Margaret Qualley's like, oh, I'm so glad you're still here, you still you still live over there, and he's
like
like, what
like
do you
you're still
mean?
you. Yeah, like you're
Yeah,
still
that
you.
that. I think that moment was acted so well on his part of just like, I'm embarrassed and ashamed and I hate like fuck you,
Yeah,
but
he's like kind of
also
quirky and like he's trying to like not fit the typical leading man archetype, and I fuck with that. I like that. I can appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, I mean, overall, just great film. Do you have anything else to say about it?
I don't. I think we kind of covered everything. Just a really fun outing from A24, outing from Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley. And I'm just looking forward to see what Glenn Powell does next. And I truly, it's a shame that not enough people have seen this movie. I hope it gets popularity down the line because it truly is a fun watch.
For sure, it is a little disappointing how they're marketing it, just because they're really not doing a good job. It's really hit or miss with these A24 movies, unfortunately, in terms
Yeah,
of how they present themselves.
yeah,
Whatever, it's a shame. Please watch it.
yeah. With that being said, that's it for episode 26 of Popcorn Problem. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you made it this far, you're the real MVP. We'll be back next week seeing what your favorite scary movie is with our highly anticipated Scream 7. In the
Oh yeah.
meantime, you can hit us up on socials at Popcorn Problems Pod and let us know what you thought of How to Make a Killing. Don't forget to follow, rate us 5 stars on whatever platform you're using, and DM us your hottest takes and suggestions. We will see you next time. Peace.
Have a good one.